Alright, what's up guys? Just got back from Jurassic World! The sequel nobody asked for and looked fucking ridiculous in the trailers and unnecessary, and a lot of people bitched about it. Well, let's break down and do a little bit of a summary. So, the park is back for some ungodly reason. I mean, when people die, at a fucking park and a disaster
learn
happens.
from their mistakes.
20 years later, they do not learn from their mistakes and they decide to reopen the park. But this time they got all the rides, everything is good, hunky-dory, it's been working. And really, people are becoming bored with dinosaurs, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
But people are becoming bored with dinosaurs, so corporate, I love this, corporate decides that they need a new dinosaur, so they fuck with nature again. They were already fucking with nature. That was the whole moral of the first Jurassic Park, but they fuck with nature again to make a hybrid dinosaur, which is a mix of a bunch of different breeds that we will not spoil for you, and make this super dino, which inevitably gets out of control and the park goes fucking haywire. So, Del, what did you think of the movie?
I thought that it was great at some parts, but other parts were just grossly unnecessary.
Yeah, it is, the key word that kept popping in my head is it's contrived. Yep. It's so contrived. Oh, I fucking hate it. I fucking hated so many parts in this movie. They rang hollow. There are so many parts that rang hollow. This is why it is unnecessary. Jurassic World was unnecessary. It is Hollywood excess. It is basically Titanic 2. It's fucking Titanic 2.
We brought the ship back. Woo! Yeah, let's go crash into another iceberg.
There are concepts in the world, Jurassic Park, for example, that just don't need sequels. Thankfully, that's one thing the movie does do. It completely ignores Lost World and Jurassic Park 3, where a T-Rex gets out and attacks San Diego. Shit never happened.
Never happened.
So I like that.
Good.
and I'll have to watch 2 and 3 to see if they were better than this one. I think maybe this one was better than those
one
two.
was way better than 3, for sure.
Okay,
for
way
sure.
better than 3 for sure. But Steven Spielberg directed the second one. I don't remember a whole lot about it, but like I said, completely unnecessary. Why do you say there were parts in it that just...
So, there's been this trend
Yeah.
in these movies lately where they feel like they gotta have romance, they gotta have family issues, no matter fucking what type of movie it is.
that's
Like
what I noticed,
Poltergeist, a great example. There was family issues in a stupid ghost movie that made no sense. And in this one, they're like shoving family issues in.
family issues for the human characters.
Yep, and forced romance again.
And forced romance between Chris Pratt and the...
Claire,
the head lady of the park, who is the corporate lady and sort of behind creating...
Which, might
the
I
event.
add, she's a badass.
You thought she was a badass.
She's kind of
Who can run with high heels the entire movie and
Exactly.
not lose her shoes?
I-
She didn't lose her shoes.
Wow.
I thought she was...
Wow.
She actually kind of... I didn't really like her character, but for all the characters in this movie, she grew the most. Nobody grew. Nobody changed. Chris Pratt was a badass at the beginning. He was a badass at the end. The punk kids were punk kids at the beginning. They were punk kids at the end.
Punk kids, yeah.
Punk kids. Well, the teenager was a punk kid who went to the park, and all the teenager that's with his little brother, all he cares about is getting pussy or getting laid at a park when he's got a girlfriend back at home. What that mean? I was like,
what's going on here?
This kid, and the reason why I call him a punk kid, Joe, is because I fucking love dinosaurs. This whole movie, this kid's on his goddamn cell phone.
That is
I'm like,
actually-
God damn
That's
it!
pretty accurate, though.
I was like, what
That's
the
pretty
fuck?
accurate nowadays.
Yeah, well, I think for dinosaurs, people would...
Yeah,
would-
fucking dinosaurs. That whole argument
Maybe
of,
he
oh,
went there
it's
when he was 5.
boring.
Okay, but her character Claire actually does change.
Yeah.
She seems really, really stiff, really very corporate. I wouldn't say
book.
stuck up. She's by the book. She's just doesn't care. She's a numbers lady.
Yeah,
Doesn't
she's
really
numbers,
care
by the
about the
numbers, yeah.
dinosaurs, it seems. And over the course of the movie, you see her. Wow, these are living beings, and she starts to feel sorry for some of the dinosaurs that are dying due to this mad creation that she's had a hand in creating. So I think her character arc actually worked a little bit. Joe, what about Chris Pratt in this movie?
Chris Pratt, obviously, he was a badass. He had his funny jokes as always.
Yep.
And,
Really one of the reasons to see the movie.
Yeah, basically, he was best character there.
Best actor.
What was his
Followed-
deal in the movie, though? What was his
He
role?
was actually hired on. He was an ex-Navy. He
Mm-hmm.
was in the military. And now they hired him on as a Raptor trainer. Which is kind of weird.
Which confused me a little bit. He was already a Raptor trainer on the same island, I think, but just on a different part of the island.
Yeah.
And like the dude that owns the park was like, bring him over and see if they find holes in our thing. But doesn't he already work for you? I don't
I think
understand.
he worked for InGen.
He worked for
He worked for
InGen, which was the
InGen.
military company.
That
Yeah.
part didn't really make
It
sense.
didn't make sense.
It's like a military scummy corporation on the same island as Jurassic World, and that's a
And
storyline throughout the
he
movie.
had like a 1960s mobile home on this island somehow. Like, did you notice his
Yeah, I
house was
saw
like
that.
a
I
1960s
saw that. It's
mobile
like-
home just
built
on
his
the
house
island?
in-
Like, all right, I've been living
The
here.
first scene we're introduced to him, he's working on the motorcycle, and the chick comes up and she's like, I need you, and he's like, really? You want to go back into my bodega? You know, I think it was Joss Whedon who like tweeted out that the scene was sexist or something about
It
like
wasn't.
really. No, it wasn't,
wasn't
Josh.
at all.
I think later on he apologized. Like I must have got mixed up. Or something. He was drunk.
Yeah,
that
they
day.
even established
Because it
that
was
they were
fine.
dating at one point. They
Yeah.
went on a
Yeah,
date
they
like,
went
right
on a
after
date.
that.
So
They
that's
were
why
like,
you had the constant tension between the two. They constantly,
Yeah.
he's making veiled passes at her. He's like, dinosaurs, it's all they care about is hunting and eating and, you got to care about one of those things, right? Am I right? I don't know. But he really was the best in the movie. So the story of the movie for me was, it was hard to suspend my disbelief.
Yeah.
Very, very hard to suspend my disbelief. Number one, if you're going to recreate the Jurassic Park, you have to have things in place to make sure that it doesn't happen again, the disaster. They had maybe less than 20 guys, 20
guards.
military guys with non-lethal weapons. And at this point, when the dinosaur escapes, it's not a protocol, let everybody leave the island. It's no, we can contain it. Let's send out non-lethal weapons, even though this animal has shown extreme intelligence. And, well, Chris Pratt is on the audience side and says,
to
stop
save
it.
their investment. That's
I know, but that's the
Yo,
bullshit.
they spent $27 million
Yeah.
on
That
that
is just-
dinosaur.
That
You-
is
you
just
gotta-
bullshit.
you
More
gotta
than
think about-
27
You gotta
million.
think about it. It's corporate. They're trying to save their
It's
investment.
corporate.
No, there are more people than just one. There would be safeguards in place. Anyway, non-lethal weapons, that team goes out there. They get their fucking asses kicked. They're getting murdered one by one. Still no real evacuation is given after that. It's just... And then the owner of the park essentially goes up in a helicopter and he's just learned how to fly a helicopter. They have a helicopter. I was like, okay, there's a minigun on there. They're gonna go take care of business. But the one helicopter they have on an island full of dinosaurs is a corporate helicopter. It's not even really military design, being flown by a first-time pilot. It's like, really, we don't have more than one gunship on this island with a bunch of dinosaurs that are carnivorous that can kill people. Like,
No, they even said like multiple times during the movie, like, we have lethal weapons in the armories, but non-lethal
never show
only.
them. You almost
They
barely ever
never
show.
grab
Well,
It's
towards
like every
the end.
plan was getting worse and worse. Like, oh, let's do this. Oh no,
It's
they just
progressively
It's
worse
like we're
and
making
worse.
things worse.
It breaks my suspension of disbelief because in Jurassic Park, they had them cars on rails. So it's like, it gives you the illusion of going anywhere. And they were like, what do we do for Jurassic World? we gotta go bigger and better and more badass. So let's create these little fucking bubbles so we can fucking sell them as toys. These little fucking bubbles where you can see everything, and then people can drive the bubbles themselves. So really, everybody in this world is so goddamn stupid. Number one, they wouldn't be able to operate the goddamn bubble. They'd be like, and then go wherever the hell they want. That's so much bullshit. That bubble part in the movie pissed me the fuck off.
No, I could withstand a 50 cal. Jimmy Fallon told me. I trust Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon is in this movie, and quite possibly the most out of place cameo I have ever seen. I saw Jimmy Fallon immediately. The sense of wonderment and exploration that I'm in a park and then dinosaurs are alive and Jimmy Fallon and wait, what? You know, it breaks. I know my opinion is in a minority. I've looked online. People are loving the movie. The audience, like an 87 rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The critics, something like 71%. So I'm sure the comments are gonna fill up with hate. But I didn't dislike the movie. I just thought that it was unnecessary and it was barely above average. Barely above average.
See, the biggest issue I had with the movie was that the original Jurassic Parks captivated you. It was about that experience of seeing dinosaurs and how big they were and how tiny it made us and how it was just this wonderful experience when you were a kid that you picked up on, and they never brought that awe.
They never did that again. There was no sense of awe.
There was no sense of awe, and it just felt like they were throwing in shit that people would relate with, like family issues and drama and family crap.
Nobody gives a shit that the parents of the two boys are getting divorced.
We're there for the dinosaurs. But that was not even...
Yeah, it was the dinosaurs.
Probably like 5 minutes. The whole thing was 5 minutes. The parents divorced, 5 minutes. No point. Cut it out.
The divorce needs to... Joe's right. Joe's super right. What we care about in Jurassic World is the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs are the heroes. Yep. The dinosaurs are the villains. We don't need the divorce storyline. We don't need the forced romance between Pratt's character and Claire. We don't need any of that shit. And the military corporation, that angle, that the whole thing is... Well, I'm going to save that for the spoiler section, but we do need that because that sort of drives the story along.
Yeah.
But you know what? They didn't have the fucking Nokia ringtone, and I was hoping the
No,
they needed that. They fucking needed it.
My request would be, I want to hear the original song. They did do the original song, but they had to fuck with it. There was small variations where I was like, wait, what? And I was like, come on. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is the actual song, but it just seemed like there were small variations.
No, they did variate.
It was just
they put variations in.
Okay, so one of the scenes in the movie that we've seen in the trailer is Chris Pratt driving his motorcycle with the Raptors, right? And that sort of sold tickets on its own. I thought it was fucking ridiculous, but a lot of people were like, "Oh, I love that part. I love." No, whatever, Joe. I thought you were the one that said, "I can't wait."
No.
Somebody said I can't
that
wait.
Looks cheesy.
Angry
Come
Beard.
on, the Raptor Squad.
Oh, it might have been Beard.
Raptor Squad.
Maybe I'm just a critic, but what I did appreciate in the movie is that it wasn't as clear cut as he had full control of the Raptors. They did show the Raptors being aggressive creatures that are just barely in control. The only reason...
That's also a key word. They use that so many times. Oh, you don't have control.
Control.
No, we gotta get control. You have control.
You have
I have control.
I got
Nobody has control.
I got control.
They use that word so many times. I've noticed.
Yeah. And what was I saying?
They don't have control.
Yeah, they don't have
control.
I don't have control over you anymore.
Yeah.
They didn't make it as obvious as I thought they would, that the Raptors would be under control, because they're fucking Raptors, and so I appreciated the way the movie treated that, and I bought it. So what I'm trying to say here is that the first act of the movie didn't have the same awe as the original. It's very hard to expect the movie to have that. And I'd say that the second act is where it starts to fall apart a little bit. It's just filled with all these contrivances, cliches, jammed in there for audiences that are unnecessary because you're missing the point of the movie that is happening in the background. And then finally, the third act is where you're going to get some money's worth. You're going to get some money's worth there. because I expected this to turn into a horror movie, as the Jurassic Parks have done. They start with amazement, then they go down into monster horror movie.
Yeah.
Well, this one did that, but it did it with a lot more action, and it threw something out there I did not expect. It had a monster battle.
Yeah.
It has a battle in it. So we're not going to spoil it for you, but think the end of Godzilla. It inspires that kind of feel towards the end of the movie. So the last 25 to 35 minutes of the movie, I was completely in it. I was like, this may be close to the price of admission, but just all the rest of the stuff to get there was a little hard to chew on. So let's make this a short one, and we'll give you our final verdicts right now. And then, if you want to stick around, we're going to do the spoiler section where we can talk about all the dumbest shit in the movie, but we need to be able to, discuss. So if you've seen it before, join us in the spoiler section. Let's start with the scores here.
So, my summary of it is it's got a lot of good, but there's so many bad spots, like just unnecessary, that there's intermissions. And so with the intermissions and the break of the immersion of being there and the dinosaurs and stuff, it's not going to be the first one. The first one for me was like a 9. Mm-hmm. So this is a 7. This is a pushing it a 7 out of 10.
Would you go and pay for it again?
Again, no, just once.
Just once.
It's a one and done.
For me, one of the things I went in, I didn't go in with very high expectations. I didn't think the idea was necessary. I was coming in negative. It held me throughout. It held my interest throughout, but there was plenty of the bad that I thought there was going to be. The stereotypes, the cliches, the forced characterizations. But I was looking to see, this movie needs to have good CGI. And it had great CGI. It starts the scene with a dinosaurs cracking out of the egg, and it looks great. But then it just reminded me that, wow, Jurassic Park, a movie that is so old, decades old, it is on the same level that this movie is. Now, obviously, the CGI has gotten better, but for me to have remembered it as, the CGI is on par, that is an amazing achievement. So this CGI doesn't go, too amazing, but it is enough to satisfy me. And so I believed in the dinosaurs, but it was just filmed wrong, or the focus was in the wrong areas, or there wasn't enough emphasis on the dinosaurs at the beginning before it turns into a straight up monster brawl movie. Then once it becomes a monster brawl movie, we get focused on dinosaurs a little bit, or when they're already dead, we focused on, ooh, how sad is it, the dinosaurs die. So the fact that it carries the Jurassic World name, the fact that I went to buy it and I gave them my money because it had the Jurassic World, it had a lot to live up to. So if you're going to make money off of your fans, you need to deliver, and I just felt this one didn't deliver. So I'm going to go with a 6, and I would say it captures maybe, 33% of the dinosaur magic I wanted to see from Jurassic Park. But it made up for that with a monster brawl at the end. Joe, what are you thinking?
I thought it was actually slightly above average. I was going to give it a 6 out of 10. They focused too much on the humans aspect. Too many issues on that. I wanted to see more of the dinosaurs, and what brought it up was also the CGI. I like the CGI, and the boss battle was amazing. Yeah. And some of the new dinosaurs, actually, we had like 2 new dinosaurs. I liked it.
Yeah, and we don't harp, and I know there's probably some of you out there like, oh, you're just like the Godzilla review, too much on the humans and stuff. Well, it's not that we were mad at the focus was on the humans. It's just the humans couldn't hold their end of the bargain. No. Chris Pratt held his end of the bargain. Larry was a badass. Larry, here's the time. Every time there was a joke cracked, I didn't laugh. I didn't even crack a smile, except for Larry. Larry did maybe 1 or 2 really great jokes that it's like, wow, that movie did that, It went for a cliche, and then it completely blew up the cliche, and I was like, yes! If there was way more of that, and we'll talk about it in the spoiler section, but I know what Joe's talking about. He likes Larry. So yeah, and when I compare this movie with Godzilla, it's almost in the same genre. And I enjoyed the characters in this one more than I enjoyed the human characters in Godzilla. I liked Chris Pratt. I liked Larry. But in comparison to good movies or Jurassic Park, where you had the scummy scientist guy Newman, Newman, you had Samuel L. Jackson, you had, I was missing Jeff Goldblum.
Oh my God,
That's what I was waiting for. I was actually waiting for him. I was like, he's gonna be in there.
I was gonna expect a cameo.
I was like,
Jeff's
end.
done. Jeff's done with Jurassic
They
Park.
could have done like a cameo where he's at the park and he's just eating ice cream and he just sees it,
I
looks
doubt
at
he
it for a
would
moment,
go.
and goes
I
back
doubt
to
he would
eating his
go.
ice cream. Like, this shit's happening again.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So in that sense, it's just it's not what we wanted it to be. It is a blockbuster movie. It feels like one of these summer blockbuster movies. And so don't expect too much out of it. But if you're going for dinosaurs brawling with each other, you're going to be happy. You're going to be entertained. If you're expecting it to be as good as the original or close, just one tick under, you're going to be disappointed. Okay, guys, join us in the spoilers section, and we'll see you on the next Angry Joe show.